Good morning. Welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Wednesday, May the 21st. We're here to look at new releases that are published in this week, and we look at them genre by genre, a different genre every day of the week. And on Wednesdays, we look at romance and women's fiction, however that falls. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for watching. If you're watching now, thank you very much. If you're watching later, thank you very mumuch. Appreciate that. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell if you have not already done so. Elena says, good morning, and chat, PK and chat. Good morning to you, Elena. Hope you're doing good. Quick announcements. I don't have any sprints tonight. Our next sprints are tomorrow night, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Let's jump into romance. Catherine Center has a new one. People are going to be excited. Let's go to the Kindle version to get a head-on view. There we go. This is called The Love Haters. Katie Vaughn has been burned by love in the past. Now she may be lighting her career on fire. She has two choices: wait to get laid off from her job as a video producer, or at her coworker Cole's request, take a career-making gig profiling Tom Hutchison. Have you noticed everybody's doing their little nicknames when they do this? I hate that. You can work the nickname into the story. You don't have to do it now. We get it. A Coast Guard rescue swimmer in Key West. The catch: Katie's not exactly qualified. She can't swim, but pretends she can. Plus, Cole and Hutch are brothers, and they don't get along. Next stop, Paradise. But Paradise is messier than it seems, as Katie gets entangled with Hutch, and the most scientifically good-looking man she's ever seen, but maybe a bit of a love hater. Along with his colorful Aunt Rue and his rescue Great Dane, she gets trapped in a lie or two. Swimming lessons, helicopter flights, conga lines, drinking contests, hurricanes, and stolen kisses ensue, along with chances to tell the truth, to face old fears, and to be truly brave at last. And then they repeat that last sentence. Somebody did not proofread. Bad Publicity by Bianca Gillum. Andy has been awash in grief since the death of her father, but when she lands her dream job as a senior book publicist, she finally finds some buoyancy, a renewed sense of purpose. She's prepared to take the New York publishing scene by storm, until her first day, when she discovers that her biggest author is Jack Carlson, the same Jack who ruined her life at university, whom she hasn't spoken to in 5 years, who is not only still infuriatingly hot, but also incredibly successful, and whose campaign she definitely cannot mess up if she wants to keep her job. To make matters even worse, the central part of this career-defining campaign is a book tour. For a month, Andy will have to travel across Europe with the man whom, if she were being totally honest, she'd like to hit with her car. Plus, there's the unrelenting grief and her mother's confusing new beau. Put all this together and you get a lot. But she will not lose this opportunity, especially not because of Jack. 1 month on tour with Jack Carlson, visiting some of the most romantic spots in Europe. Deep breath. She can do this. Courtroom Drama by Neely Tubati Alexander. How do we feel about that cover? It's not very attractive. But it's not horrible. Sydney Parks thinks she might be the first person in the world to look forward to serving jury duty when Margot Kitsch, an OG cast member of the hit reality show Authentic Moms of Malibu, is arrested after the untimely death of her cast member husband, Joe. Sydney knows being selected for the jury is the most interesting thing that has ever happened to her. However, it doesn't take long for Sydney to realize that being part of a sequestered jury in a high-profile case is not at all what legal dramas had led her to expect, especially when she learns that her childhood best friend, Damon, whom she hasn't seen in 10 years, is also a jury member. As the trial wears on, Sydney realizes there's a lot more to the case than she first thought, and there's also a lot more to Damon. She soon finds herself falling under his spell, despite the court's instructions not to fraternize. His tendency to break the rules and find adventure is hard to resist in their otherwise dull juror's world. But getting close to Damon also means having to face the complicated reasons their friendship abruptly ended just when they were on the precipice of something more. With all the drama in and out of the courtroom, how is Sydney supposed to ignore the fraught history between them? How is she supposed to avoid him when he's sitting next to her in the jury box every day with his broad shoulders and intoxicating smell? And how is she supposed to ensure Margot gets a fair trial if her unfinished business with Damon causes the mistrial of the century? Heart of the Sun, a love story by Mia Sheridan. Amid the sun-drenched orange groves of California, childhood friends Tuck Matisse and Emily Swanson shared a bond that seemed unbreakable until life ripped them apart. 13 years later, Emily is a rising pop sensation in need of security, and Tuck, a brooding ex-con, is in need of a fresh start. When fate brings them together once again, Emily hires him on as her new bodyguard. They butt heads and bicker just like the old days, yet neither can deny the heat rekindling between them. But when a cataclysmic solar flare disrupts the electrical grid, society is suddenly plunged into chaos and darkness. For Emily, the familiar comforts of fame and fortune crumble, but for Tuck, this stark new reality could be the chance he needs to finally prove himself. As they come to terms with all they've lost and the bitterness that's kept them apart, they must find their way back to one another and discover a new place under the sun. End of that row. Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt, second in the Spoons series. This time, they'll get it right. Wren and Ellis Bird fell in love as kids, had their son Sam when they were only teenagers, and built a life together in the coastal town of Spoons, Oregon. They were made for one another until they fell apart. Now divorced and in their 30s, Wren runs the bakery in town while Ellis works as a firefighter. They live separate lives, though they are hardly off each other's minds. When Ellis and Wren move Sam into college, Ellis convinces Wren to take an extended road trip back to Spoons to see if they can give their relationship one last chance. Amid the gorgeous California coastline and the intimacy they have missed for years, Wren starts to think it just might be possible. But can the past truly be left behind? When words fail and old wounds resurface, it's a soul-bearing letter that could finally reveal the truth or close the door on them forever. I feel a sneeze, excuse me. Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tooley. Engineer Tashara Malik once dreamed of being the first woman of color to smash the glass ceiling at WMC Purcell, but after years of dealing with white male privilege and blatant nepotism, we read romance to get away from crap. She watches her hard-earned promotion go to her nemesis, Rafe Gallagher, the boss's son. Teetering on the edge of burnout, Triss is stunned when she's picked to attend WMC's corporate leadership retreat in Hawaii. It's a chance to revive her stalled career and compete for a coveted spot in an executive training program, plus 3 weeks in paradise. The only downside? Rafe is her co-attendee. Triss plans to avoid Rafe entirely, but when she arrives in Maui, a booking error has them stuck sharing the honeymoon suite. Sure, it's not all torture. Rafe is a smoldering 10. Okay, fine, an 11. But after years of competition, they can barely stand being in the same time zone. As they vie against each other during aptitude tests and team building exercises, Triss begins to realize Rafe might not be the villain after all. With her dreams at stake, can she learn to trust the man who might have been standing in her corner all along? You guys have no idea how much I'm controlling my snark today. Oof. Rules for Ruin by Mimi Matthews, first in the Crinoline Academy, a series. No one betrays the academy, but now Euphemia must decide, break the rules for her enemy or let the rules break her heart. On the outskirts of London sits a seemingly innocuous institution with a secretive aim: train young women to distract, disrupt, and discredit the patriarchy. Outraged by a powerful lord's systematic attack on women's rights in Parliament, the Academy summons its brightest and most bitter pupil to infiltrate the odious man's inner circle. A deal is struck. Bring down the Viscount, and Miss Euphemia Flight can finally earn her freedom. Is she held a prisoner? But betting shop owner Gabriel Royce has other plans. The Viscount is the perfect pawn to insulate Gabriel's underworld empire from government interference. He's not about to let some crinoline-clad miss destroy his carefully constructed enterprise, no matter how captivating he finds her threats. From the rookeries of St. Giles to the ballrooms of Mayfair, Euphemia and Gabriel engage in a battle of wits and wills that's complicated by a blossoming desire. Soon Euphemia realizes it's not the broken promises to her academy sisters should fear, it's the danger to her heart. Sanskari Sweetheart by Ananya Devarajan. There's probably a way better way to say that. Devarajan. I apologize. I am not doing that one well. Raina needs to win the National Bollywood Dance Circuit Scholarship. That will show her mother that dance can be a financially stable career and prove to her boyfriend and co-captain Aditya that they're still the perfect couple, even if all they seem to do these days is fight. There's only one problem. Aditya breaks up with her, their nationals choreography crumbles on stage, and Raina, as well as her hopes of winning the scholarship, is taken right down with it. All Raina wants is a do-over. So when she wakes up the next morning to a miracle, another chance at nationals with Aditya by her side, she couldn't be happier. But as the events of the day start repeating, Raina realizes she's stuck in a time loop, cursed to humiliate herself at nationals and then get dumped over and over again. Raina is certain that if she follows all the right steps, she can break out of the time loop, win nationals, and earn back the heart of her one true love in the process. But what if perfection isn't enough? End of that road. Slipstream by Madge Merrill. Lila Gray would never imagined she'd be spending her summer amidst the roaring engines and adrenaline-fueled world of Formula One racing. As a serious documentarian, her passion lies in capturing the raw and filtered truth. But when her best friend, business co-owner, and secret boyfriend, Max, decides to pivot their documentary company to film the Ignition Energy drink racing team, Lila is thrust into a world she despises. Her disdain turns to fury when Max blindsides her, not only ending their relationship, but also threatening the company she painstakingly built. Enter Arthur Bianco, the charismatic and enigmatic drinking game F1 reserve driver whose career is as tumultuous as the races he dreams of winning. Initially, Lila is supposed to document Arthur's relegation to backup driver, but together they concoct a plan to take control of Max's documentary, each with their own motives: Lila's revenge and Arthur's redemption. Their secret alliance promises to change the narrative both on and off the track as they navigate the glamorous circuits and behind-the-scenes secrets of Formula One. An unexpected speed bump forces Lila and Arthur's partnership to evolve into a fake relationship that feels all too real. The chemistry between them is off-limits and undeniable, and as Arthur's cinematic comeback plays out over the hot, globe-trotting summer, Lila finds herself drawn to his true charm and hidden vulnerability. But as the cameras roll and the world watches, Lila must confront her own feelings and the reality that no script can dictate the course of true love. An Unexpected Grace by Tracy Peterson and Kimberly Woodhouse. This is third in the Jewels of Kalispell, which is in Montana, on the other side and north of me, about 500 miles away, but this is Montana. After decades away, Parker Bennett returns home with a traveling troupe to perform a play based on Uncle Tom's Cabin at the Kalispell Opera House. Parker has relished his life on the road, but being home awakens long-buried emotions when he encounters his first love, Joanna St. John. He can't help but wonder if there might still be a place for him in her heart. Widowed for 3 years, Joanna devotes all her time to a demanding toddler, an injured father, and a successful millinery business. After the loss of her husband, she desires to move on, but reconnecting with her past love leaves her unsure of what lies ahead. Both committed to God's distinct calling on their lives, Joanna and Parker struggle to see how their futures can unite. And when strange things start happening around town, their second chance at a life together seems more unlikely than ever. Emily's Next Chapter by Anne M. Schreiber. And there's a designer listed, which has no bearing. Emily is a writer, a mother, and a woman who knows heartbreak all too well. Still carrying the weight of her divorce, she spent the last few years rediscovering who she is, quietly rebuilding a life on her own terms. Lucas is a devoted father, an architect, and a man who's grown used to quiet after loss. His marriage may have ended, but his love for his daughter Lily grounds him in something real and enduring. When a dating app brings Emily and Lucas together, their connection is instant, but falling in love in midlife isn't quite so simple. With kids' careers and past wounds in tow, blending their worlds proves as complicated as it is hopeful. Emily isn't sure where she fits into life Lucas built before her, and Lucas is still learning how to open his heart again. The Rebellious Lady and the Phantom Lord by Susan Carroll. First in the Hidden Hearts collection. In an era of revolution, Lady Phaedra Grantham fights for her own freedom from her tyrannical grandfather and memories of a tragic marriage. Her quest for independence is threatened by the arrival of the mysterious nobleman Armand Delacroix. The handsome Marquis holds all of London in thrall. Even Lady Phaedra is drawn to the man despite her growing suspicion and fear. What secret does Armand hide behind his aristocratic mask? And what danger does Phaedra face when love itself may prove to be nothing more than a masquerade? Talk about an old-fashioned cover. We love it. End of that row. Heart's Choice by Anna Markland, first in the Cotton Copse Mysteries. But this had more of a romance angle to it, so I think that's why I put it here. In 19th century England, an era of sweeping change and industrial marvels, the lives of two unlikely souls intertwine in it. Oh, that's right. This is the stealing the plot of North and South. Gotcha. Set against the backdrop of Lancashire's booming cotton industry, this is the story of Roger Sandiford, a ruthless, self-made industrialist, and Beatrice Parker, the daughter of a vicar. The future of Roger's once thriving mill is threatened by the cotton famine caused by the American Civil War. Adding to his woes is the discovery of the body of a young boy in his mill. Sergeant Hallowell of the local police force leads the investigation into the boy's death. Bee is obliged to leave her native Dorset when her father inherits a barony in Lancashire. Initially, she cannot cope with the cultural shock of life in a dirty northern town, but she soon comes to admire the grit and determination of the working people of Lancashire. Her life is complicated by a cousin who wants to marry her and refuses to take no for an answer. The cousin eventually turns out to be more than just a persistent suitor. The story explores the simmering, restrained passion between two very different people who fall in love in spite of themselves. Will they attain their happily ever after, or will the greed of a jealous cousin endanger Bee's life and keep them apart? Sometimes You Stay by Liz Johnson. For digital content creator Krisha Martin, home is wherever her carry-on suitcase lands, and it's constantly landing in new places as she travels the world. She's never been interested in settling in one spot. After all, houses are just places that collect junk and tie you down. But when she literally bumps into local dog breeder Finn Chaffee on Prince Edward Island and all the tools of her trade end up in the harbor, she can't exactly leave until she gets things sorted out. Finn is horrified by the part he played in the accident and offers to help, arranging for Krisha to stay with a friend at the beautiful Red Door Inn. The longer Krisha is forced to remain in one place, the more she discovers what she's been missing with life on the road, and the more she wants to see Finn and his business succeed. But helping him means staying put, the one thing she always swore she wouldn't do, and risking the only thing she's never put on the line, her heart. We are kind of running out of time, so we're going to do a little speed dating here. Psyche by Fred Lunzer, a story of boy meets girl meets AI therapist. This explores our aching pursuit of love and self-control. Adrian earns his living writing lyrics for rappers he never meets and finds success with a hit song about his own fruitless search for love. After his last relationship ends in a spiral of angst, Adrian decides it's time to try Psyche, the new lauded and elite AI psychotherapy app that tracks your every move and emotion and guides you toward mental contentment. He soon falls for McKee, a smart and pragmatic venture capitalist scouring London's tech scene for the next business boom. She can see no potential investments, though nothing sparkles. She wants to find a business as successful as Psyche, and yet she is also one of the holdouts who refuse to use it, etc. Ride With Me by Simone Soltani. Got a lot of racing ones. Second in the Lights Out series. A marriage of convenience threatens to go off track in this steamy Formula One romance. Stella Baldwin thought her life couldn't get worse. Being left at the altar was bad enough, and the drunken rant she posted to her social media followers in the aftermath was the cherry on top. But having to show up at her cousin's bachelorette party in Las Vegas barely 2 weeks later feels like a cruel joke. Thomas Maxwell Brown is just looking for a good time. With his family's expectations pressing down, his career as a Formula One driver threatened by fresh talent, and a new reputation making him the most hated man on the grid, he needs a break to clear his head. And what better way to decompress than with a stag party in Vegas, etc., etc. These last two we will do just super speed dating. Lessons in Heartbreak by Carla Sorensen, first in the Kings series. A playboy football player, a shy librarian. When old friends reunite, opposites attract in a witty and lighthearted romance about taking chances and falling in love against the odds. That one is football. Yes. And An Unladylike Secret. This is by Amita Murray. The final installment, this is book 3, of the Marley Sisters series. All right, that is all we have time for today. Tomorrow we will be looking at fantasy and science fiction. And again, tonight I don't have any sprints. I've got a class I attend on Wednesday evenings now. But our next sprints are tomorrow night. Bring your own book, work on a project, etc. Hope you have a very good Wednesday. Please be safe, and as the banner says, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.